What is up, everybody? I have been really excited about this new documentary that came out. To Be Determined, recently released by PokerGo in partnership with Solve for Why, which I wasn't even aware that Solve for Why was doing a documentary or this type of big production. But it really got me excited. I feel like the boom that we experienced during the Moneymaker era was partially due to the characters that we had developed throughout the course of the mid-2000s. Chris Moneymaker, Mike the Mouth Matisow, Daniel Negreanu, Phil Hellmuth. Some of those people are still around, but we really got to not only fall in love with poker, but it was typically through these characters. And I think that a lot of the love that we had, or at least from my perspective, was watching someone really obsess over this game, really obsess over the abstracts of this game and watching them maneuver through that. Let's start off with some first thoughts of the documentary. I'm just happy it happened. I'm just happy that poker has something. I'm just happy that poker is now telling stories again. And I'm really happy that Berkey and Solve for Why put this together with PokerGo. I feel like poker is missing its storytelling that it once had. It sounds so boomer. It does. But like, it's hard to watch a GTO bot and see the passion in his or her decision making when they're emotionless and there's no expression and nothing's going on. We want to live vicariously through these decisions that poker players are making. And so we're in love, I think, with the passion that these characters possess for poker. So it's really good to bring poker back into the limelight. It's really good to just have something for poker again, a story again, a rounders again. But there are things about the documentary that I think were done wrong. Number one, and the biggest one, I think, was it was the wrong main character. What I really wanted out of Oscar was a passion for poker. What I got out of Oscar was a passion for not working 9 to 5 and not having to grind at a corporate office. What I love and what all of us in the poker community love is this obsession that some players have, which is why like Landon Tice now has like 14,000 followers and literally a year ago had like 500, which is why we love watching heads up battles, which is why we love seeing these big wins and big losses, why we love watching Daniel Negreanu struggle and have emotional breakdowns when he's battling Doug Polk and Phil Hellmuth. It's the passion that they have for the game, the relentless, painful, and sometimes very rewarding passion that leads to becoming better within the game. Now, I lost a lot of my passion during a very difficult time in my life and moved on to other things. I never did it full time, but had I stayed in poker, it would only be because I hold this deep passion for the game. I see this obsession in so many young poker players. And so regardless of the money and regardless of the outcome of the cards in a particular hand, the goal is to play the best that they can play in every situation and know that they did and be happy with that. So I know Landon, if he loses a hand, but he knows he played it well, from my conversations with him, I would still think that he would be happy because he doesn't care about the money. And so the sad part about this documentary is I think the main character was wrong. I think he really portrayed an urge to get rich, maybe get rich quick, maybe have an easy time, maybe avoid this 9 to 5. And those are not the things that make great poker players. The things that make great poker players is humility and obsession and being able to emotionally handle riding this roller coaster of finances. And I just missed that in Oscar, and it was really disappointing. I also see only men in Solve for Why, only men representing Solve for Why, only men talking about other men, only men on their podcast. I think Vanessa Cade's the only woman I've ever seen on their podcast. It would have been amazing for them to bring in a woman, an up-and-coming woman. And I know Danielle Moon was featured in a previous documentary, which was amazing. But there's just so many better people, I think, that could have been chosen for this role, including a lot of women, including a lot of up-and-coming women who are playing high stakes, who are grinding and studying. And so, speaking of humility, I didn't feel that Oscar had much of it. He was way too stubborn. Your stubbornness within poker should be towards your obsession of the game. Like, you just don't want to sleep. You're so stubbornly addicted to playing and studying. But his stubbornness was adamant against improving because he didn't need to at the stakes that he was playing. And like, I don't know if I want to watch a documentary about a guy who's been grinding 1-2 for 10 years. I want to see a come-up story. I want to see someone come out of the woodwork from 1-2 to 5-10 to 10-20, going broke again, having to go back, reevaluate, working his way back up or her way back up. I just don't want to see a sad sap of a story where it's almost like they knew when he was going to be trained by Solve for Why for that month that Berkey and Christian were going to train him. It's like they knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. And when they go back to the mid-2000s and how Oscar was making money back then, I'm assuming that's around the time that Christian was referring to in the documentary, we all were making money. I was making money. It was a different time. It was a different era, and the game is changing, and Oscar doesn't want to adapt. I would have loved to have seen Oscar trying new forms of studying, Oscar running solvers, Oscar talking about how grueling it is and how he doesn't sleep because he's studying so much and how he wants this so bad. And he doesn't care about the outcome. He doesn't care that he's stuck. He cares that he's playing his best, and he goes and runs the sim after. Rather than driving home and just being happy that he's done. It was just like, it just was the wrong person for the right documentary. The documentary idea, the editing, the production, amazing. I loved every minute of it. I'm still here to support it. I still think that you should watch it. I still think it portrays a portion of the population that plays poker, that just refuses to study, that refuses to get better, that thinks it's a feel game, that thinks it's a psychological game, which, like, I won't dismiss that 100%, but the game has changed. The game is so strategy focused. The players are so much better. The guys that I have played against or I have talked to within poker, I shouldn't say guys, I should say men and women, they're so much clearer in their strategy. They're so much more logical. There's no more gut. And so to think that you can just get away with minimum, even in a 1-2 game, it's just not fun to watch. How's that? It's not fun to watch. I don't want to watch this sad story continue. And so I watched it twice, and I was going to give it some stars. I don't want to give it stars. I want everyone to watch it. I still want to support poker content. I still want to support women in poker. I still want to, even if something isn't 100% hitting the mark, it's still good to support, number one, and it's still a good poker story. Really good production. All right, kids, go to sleep, but stay woke.